Please, if you are still joining us, this is a good opportunity to share this link, right now on your platforms. You might, be helping someone who needed to hear the conversation we are having today. So I would like you to just, quickly go to the link and, share. Just one person can hear this conversation today, and it can be a major turnaround in their life. Okay? So why this is being a blessing in your life, I want you to be a part, and make it to be a blessing on someone else's life. Good evening, everyone. Deborah, welcome to see you. Thank you for joining us today. Please go ahead and share the link. Share it on your different platforms. Share it on your groups. Directly invite a friend to come and join us today. And if you are just coming online, let us know where you are joining from. Okay? And some of you have opportunity to join this conversation, but you've not been able to, subscribe, like, or comment. This is an opportunity for you to do so. So just go ahead, and like, subscribe, and also comment. Let us know how these conversations is impacting your life. Let us know the questions you have. Let us know ways you believe we can serve you better. Okay? I'll be starting in the next 1 minute. So just go ahead and share. Quickly tell someone you need to be part of this conversation. You need to be part of what we are doing today. You will be blessing someone's life. Okay? So thank you guys for joining once again. We started this particular series 2 weeks ago, and it's all about how you can end your year strong and start your 2016, in a way to embrace the new year with total freedom, with success, with the kind of life that you desire. I said 2 weeks ago that how you end a year goes a long way in determining how you are going to start the next year and how you are going to make the most of your seasons. Okay? And that is why I believe this conversation is very important. Every farmer, in the end of a planting season, they are already preparing for the next planting season. You don't need to wait for the next year to start before you start working on the year. You prepare ahead. So this is the time you begin to take stock, you begin to evaluate, you begin to reflect, over your year 2025, and not just your year 2025, maybe over the past 7 years of your life. So this is an opportunity for you to begin to reflect, to begin to, realign your purpose, to realign your life to what you believe you should be doing. Okay? And I believe that it is something that if you are able to do, if you are able to achieve it, it sets you powerfully ahead of what you want to do in 2016. Thank you guys for joining. Please remember to comment in the chat box or tell us where you are joining from. Tell us your name and where you are joining from. We want to know you. We want to, get to know those who are joining us live today. Okay? Awesome. So, end your year strong. The first day we spoke about spiritual reset. If you are joining us for the first time, I will encourage you to, find that recording and listen to it. Last week, we spoke about purpose, finding clarity, clarifying the key important things in your life and making sure that you align yourself, with your purpose. And today, I'm going to be sharing with you on personal leadership, okay? Taking control of your growth while ending your year strong, okay? We are going to be talking about personal leadership. A better way we can talk about it is leading yourself. Leading yourself. Whenever I teach these 5 key principles, I always find it hard to know or to be able to say this is the most important principle or this is the most powerful principle. Okay? The reason I call it transformation compass is that I believe that it is one thing that you need to plug into your life for every area of your life to work effectively. Okay? The same way your body is connected, you have the eyes, you have the nose, you have the leg. Everything is connected to help you to live out your full body experience. One is lacking. What happens is that it's going to give you some certain level of inconvenience, and you begin to struggle in one specific area of your life. I want you to have total freedom. I want you to have total success. And what we have aligned in this teaching, what we have aligned in this conversation for the past 2 weeks, all I've been sharing with you are life key principles from my own life and other lives I've studied And any life that I have seen that is working towards purpose, that is working towards success, that is working towards accomplishment. So none of them I will say is the best. All of them are needed for you to live a truly extraordinary life. And that is why I will encourage you to, if you are joining us for the first time, go back, listen to the very first conversation so that you can understand why it is important. Why is leading yourself very critical? Why I believe it's very critical is that most times, even after we have experienced spiritual reset, even after we have understood clarity of purpose, it is also very important that we understand the power in leading ourselves, that we understand the power in personal empowerment and personal growth. The Bible said in the book of Deuteronomy, it said, this day I've given you life and death. It said choose life, okay? Because there's always a choice. That you have discovered your purpose, that you've discovered what you're supposed to do in life does not necessarily take away the fact that you need to lead yourself, direct your consciousness, be disciplined towards the right choice for your life. So most times people know what to do, but they are not empowered to follow through in what they know how to do. I shared to you last week when I was doing my end of year review in October. Okay, I started my own end of year review in October, as early as that. And when I started the review, I discovered that there was something God spoke to me about last year, exactly the same October, that I never acted out. Okay, and then when I was doing my review, it just came into my spirit. I felt so strongly that I've had this thing before. It looks like, God spoke to me about this, but for some reason, it just left my mind. It just left my heart. While I was penning it down, I decided to go back to my notes. I started going back to my notes. I saw it at exactly October last year. It meant that God wanted me to take that action. I had to make decision immediately. In as much as it was difficult for me, in as much as it was hard, I have a level of doubt. I have some uncertainties. Should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? But I have to put it in action immediately. I'm not even waiting for next year. In fact, I've taken few steps around that particular decision, and I'm going to be concluding it on the 19th and 20th of next month. Okay? Now, why I was able to discover and realign myself with purpose was because I set aside time to be able to do that. But most importantly, one thing is to hear, and the other thing is to take action. We are not changed by the things we hear, we are changed by the things we do. So when you have thoughts from God, when you have spirit-inspired direction, without personal empowerment and personal leadership to be able to carry it out, what happens is that you will still discover that you are struggling with success. Okay? Many people want to be successful, but many people are not empowering themselves. They are not making daily choices. Okay? So why is it daily choices? Every day you wake up, there are things that are going to be competing, with your choice. Okay? There's social media. There's a lot of systems designed today to bring in new habits into our life. And if you are not conscious of those things, what happens is that you might be making negative choices against your purpose, against things that are supposed to make you successful. And that is why people see themselves year in, year out, month in, month out, week in, week out. They are not moving towards the direction of their purpose because they have not empowered themselves, to be able to make daily choices. So in leading yourself, the very first thing I want to bring out to you is the power of choice. It's the power of choice. You need to understand the dynamics of making choices. You need to understand the dynamics of choosing. Okay? Choosing things that align with your purpose. Choosing things that align with the direction of where you want to head to. It is very, very, very critical for success. Okay? So I believe that self-leadership is the foundation of all growth. Okay? If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead your life. If you can't lead yourself, you can't make progress in your life. If you can't lead yourself, you won't be able to do the things that you have planned to do. The scripture was talking in the book of Proverbs about a lazy man who goes into the bush, makes a kill, brings the kill home, but he doesn't have enough strength to be able to prepare it to eat. So it means that there are a lot of plannings going on in your hands, there are a lot of work going on, but at the end of the day, you are not able to hit the success simply because you have not empowered yourself enough. Okay, so everything like we believe falls and rises on leadership. It's a popular quote from John Maxwell that everything rises and falls on leadership. Okay, so when we bring it to your personal life, all your outcome rises or falls on leadership. But the leadership we are talking about is not an external leadership. The leadership we are talking about is an internal leadership. Everything that you do in your life, whether you are successful in your academics, whether you are successful in your marriage, whether you are successful in the business, whether you are successful in any endeavor in your life, it is the quality of your personal leadership that determines your external outcomes. And that is why, as you end your year, one of the things I want you to look at critically is, how am I going to invest in personal growth that empowers my leadership capacity? How do I build myself to the point that I am able to do the things I really want to do, not the things that are coming into my life as a distraction? So your life is either moving towards a distraction, or it is moving towards a self-empowered leadership that is helping you to fulfill your purpose on earth. Okay, so that is why you constantly have two choices every morning you wake up. So as you look forward to next year, what practical and powerful choice are you hoping to make in order to move yourself to the right direction that you want to make? So when I was talking about purpose last week, it's more about self-awareness. Who are you? What are you meant to be doing? What do you consider your purpose? What are your strengths? What are your blind spots? What are your weaknesses? All these things are the things that you need to identify so that you can be able to move into your purpose, move into your year, move into your life with clarity of direction, clarity of dream, clarity of understanding, so that you can make yourself successful. Okay? One of the things I want to also point out, apart from personal decision, is self-management. Okay, being able to manage yourself. Okay, so when you own your decision, what happens is that you are no longer blaming your circumstances. Okay, and by not blaming your circumstances, what naturally happens is that you move your life from excuses to accountability and then action. So you now start managing yourself in a way that you become accountable to yourself concerning your dream, concerning your purpose, concerning the things that you want to achieve in life. God spoke to Joshua in the book of Joshua chapter 1. He said, meditate in this book day and night. He said, out of it you will make your way prosperous. So Joshua is responsible for his success. Joshua is responsible for making his way successful. But how will he get to that point? By first of all empowering himself. Self-empowered leadership. You bring yourself to the point. So what God was practically telling Joshua is, build your capacity, empower yourself to the point that you are filled with the capacity to achieve the endeavors that are inside your heart. There are dreams you want to achieve next year. There are visions you want to achieve in the next 7 years, in the next 20 years. But you see, you need to empower yourself. You need to be decisive about personal growth to the point that you are fully empowered in order to achieve those things that God is placing in your heart. Okay? And it starts by what? Moving away from excuses, embracing accountability, and then taking actions. Part of self-management looks into how are you going to manage your time? How are you going to structure your time? Okay? So you break down your purpose, but it's not enough to break down your purpose. You begin to structure your life and your time around your purpose. You begin to structure your life around those things that are important to you, around those things that matter, around those things that symbolizes success for you. Okay? An inability to manage your life, an inability to manage your talent, your skills, including your weaknesses, will make you not to be able to fulfill your year or to fulfill your years and the seasons of your life. Okay, so when we talk about time management, you discover that we can't remove it, we can't take it away from self-discipline. Okay, we can't take it away from creating practical personal systems around the things you do. Okay, you are working, you have a business, Okay, you have a family. What do? You create time, you structure. Okay, part of it is creating, building systems around the things that you are doing. To be able to manage yourself, you have to identify what time is for this, what time is for that. The scripture says that there's a time for everything. It means that you don't have a time that you can say, okay, I'm going to allocate to myself and use it the way I want. No, there's time for everything. If you are building a dream, if you are building a purpose, there's time for everything. The same way it applies to your day. When you wake up in the morning till the time you sleep back in the night, there is time for everything. And your inability to identify how to apportion your time in a way that it helps you to move towards your purpose, move towards your dream, is most times responsible for your inability to achieve success. Okay? So you have days, you have months, you have years, and you live them every day. But how you invest your days is what determines how your week turns out. How you invest your week is what determines how your months turn out. How you invest your months is responsible for your years. So when you look at your level of success, part of what you also do is ask yourself, how have I invested my time? How have I invested my energy? What are the things I've given my time to? What are the things I've given, my energy to? Those things are very, very important. Okay? There are about 5 key mindsets I want you to embrace as you finish the year. That will empower you to start 2026 on a very strong note. One of them is that I want you to shift from reacting to responding intentionally. Okay? What happens is that, especially when I was looking at my year, if you are not careful, most of us spend almost all our time every year responding to external stimuli, responding to people's responses, responding to activities, and responding to things that are urgent. Okay, so if you don't have money, for instance, the most important thing in your mind is, what do I do now to earn? Okay, what job do I need to make? What do I need to do quickly in order to make money and to be able to meet my needs? So because we are more in tune, we're responding to the immediate, we're reacting to the things happening around us. Most times what happens is that it makes us shift our focus from living intentionally. Okay? So why it is important that you do some things to take care of your life in the immediate, or while you are trying to respond to certain things, it's also important that you understand how to live in a way that you respond intentionally. So not just reacting, but responding intentionally. So while you want to do something on the immediate to take care of your finances, are you asking yourself, how do I also need to live intentionally and purposefully over time in order to embrace total freedom? I said something about you living a life of freedom next year. That life of freedom next year, you will not spend your time responding to things that you need to react to. You have to spend your time also responding carefully to strategy, to things that you build intentionally that will make your life meaningful. Okay? The second mind shift I want you to have is that you need to move from just hoping that things will change to building systems. Okay? So why that is important is that hope is not built on anything. Okay? You are hoping that you are going to make more money. You are hoping that you are going to, grow. You are hoping that you are going to read more. You are hoping that you are going to build better relationships. Okay? Hope never builds anything. Why it's important to hope? You need to also add to your hope systems. Okay? So if you want to grow, let's say you want to read books next year, can you put a schedule? Can you put a time? And tell yourself, okay, every morning I want to read. Every month I want to read a book. Can you put systems around those things that you want to experience? Okay? If you want to invest, ask yourself, how do I plan out my investment? How do I build my capacity for investment? Can you put a system around you building your capacity for investment? If you want to build yourself spiritually, for instance, you're going to ask yourself, how do I create a system to help myself to grow? If not, you are going to spend time responding to calls, responding to social media, responding to activities around your life, and you don't have an opportunity to build systems. Okay? Anybody that wants to grow spiritually will have to put around a system. Last 2 weeks, I made a suggestion. I said, for instance, you can set out an hour to tell yourself, every day I'm going to, maybe in the morning, maybe in the night, whatever works for you, I'm going to set out a time to intentionally invest in my spiritual life. So what happens is that you are not just hoping that you will grow spiritually. You are building a system that helps you to grow spiritually. So your system tells you what you want to study. Your system tells you the books you want to buy. Your system tells you where in the scripture or relationships, spiritual relationships that you need to build to help you to be empowered. Communities you want to get involved that will help you to move intentionally towards, your spiritual success. The same way for your family, the same way for your business, the same way for your career. If you want to, you don't just hope to get promoted next year. Don't just say that I hope to get promoted next year. Ask yourself, what systems can I build to make sure that I get a promotion next year? Okay, so what are those critical thoughts? You have to understand your career. Are there relationships I need to invest in? Do I need to take more courses? Are there certifications I need to go for? Are there things I need to do around my life in order to prepare, empower, and position myself more adequately for strategic success? So don't just hope that you are going to get rich. Don't just hope that you are going to make it. Don't just hope that God is going to bless you. I also want you to critically identify those areas that are important in your life and then build systems around it. Okay? Don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed. Even as we get to the end of the year, there are so many things to do. There are so many things to achieve. There are so many things to accomplish. Shopping has started. Those who are traveling have started planning their travel. There are a lot of things that are going to be competing with your attention. But don't allow yourself, to be overwhelmed. Even as you move into the next year and the next seasons of your life, don't allow yourself to be overwhelmed. You must constantly ask yourself, what is the clarity that I need to identify and work with? And the next thing is that you need to constantly prioritize. So once you are clear on the things that are important to you, on the things that are valuable to you, then the next thing you add to it is that you have to prioritize. You have to prioritize and ask yourself, in these things that I've identified I need to do, what are the ones important? What are the ones more important and the least important? So that I am responding strategically to the things important and not just the things that are seeking my attention. Okay? The last thing I want to say is that you don't have to be perfect. Don't wait till you have everything. I shared how we started this conversation. We don't have everything figured out. Okay, when we started, it was just YouTube Live. Now we have also added Facebook Live. When we started, I didn't have proper cameras or proper audio equipment, but we constantly improved day by day because we are not waiting to get perfect to start. We are waiting to start and then build into perfection strategically as we grow. So that is why I'm saying that don't wait till you get perfect. Even as you move into next year, don't wait till you say, okay, I need to be perfect to be able to start the things I need to start. No, start and grow into perfection. Okay. If you are still in this session, I want you to quickly go to the chat, and type in the keyword of something that you have learned today. Just type in one keyword of something that I have said today that has made a major impact in your life. If you are going to be listening, to this conversation later, I also want you, while listening, when you get to this point, write something in the chat that you heard today that has empowered you to finish your year strong and then make you, fully empowered for next year. Okay? So the few last things I want to mention to you, as I end this conversation is that create what I call a personal leadership dashboard. Okay, create what I call a personal leadership dashboard. I mentioned to you that we started building an app this year, a personal development app that is built around these 5 key systems that I've been sharing with you guys. There's been some delay, with the developers, but they are working on it, constantly to make sure, that we are able to, get it out for you guys. I'm not sure if they are still going to meet the target for this year, but we are constantly pushing because I would want it, to be available to everyone as from, the beginning of next year, okay, January. So one of the things we are trying to do in the app is to build, what I call personal leadership dashboard. Okay, so what those personal leadership dashboard does, what I also want you to think of, as you plan next year, is that you identify your core values, you identify your core vision, you identify your core purpose, whatever you call it, the things you think, you believe that are important to you, that are strategic to your success, you identify it, okay? And then when you identify it, you identify core non-negotiable habits that support those values or that supports that vision. Okay, so if I want to make it practical, let's say you want to pursue spiritual growth, okay? And for you to pursue spiritual growth, maybe a part of the first thing you want to identify is that you need to make out time to pray and study, okay? The next one could be you need to identify the books that you read that empowers you. The third one could be you need to identify a community. Maybe you don't go to church, or maybe you don't have any community that you fellowship with. You can say, okay, I need to identify. These are 3 key habits that support that value of spiritual growth. Okay, so what happens is that when you identify what your values are and you create habits that are built as system around those things that you want to achieve, it makes you focused. Okay, most people who would assume that they are lazy or they are procrastinate simply do because they don't have a structured plan of what they want to do. Okay, so if you don't know what you're going to do tomorrow when you wake up, what happens is that when you are going to wake up, you start wondering. Maybe you go to social media, you look for a friend to start chatting. What happens is that you'll be just moving around, oscillating, spending your time on frivolities that don't really matter. And before you know it, the day is over. Now you might be wondering, maybe there's something wrong with me, or I'm not focused. No, it simply means you are not structured. It simply means that you don't have deliverables. Okay, so when you have those core habits that you have identified that is very strategic to your life, what happens is that you now ask yourself, okay, every day, how do I infuse this habit into my life? Every week, how do I infuse it? Every month, how is it infused? And by the end of the year, this is where I hope to get by the end of the year. It's some sort of incremental investment in specific values or purposes that are, going to empower your life. Francis says, outcome rises and falls on leadership. Very powerful lesson. Okay, so please, I want you guys to begin to comment whatever key takeaway you have gotten from this conversation. Just go ahead and comment it in the chat box. Thank you very much, Francis, for that comment. Okay, so because you don't have a structured system, you wake up every day not knowing what to do, not knowing where to go, not knowing what relationship to build. It happens to you in a day, it happens to you in a week, it happens to you in a month. That is 31 days of your life wasted without an intentional plan of moving towards your purpose. Okay? The next thing I want to also mention to you is that identify what your emotional warning signs are. Identify in your dashboard what are the signs that you are moving away from the things that are important to you, from the values that are important to you. For instance, if you have values around how you manage your time, okay, and then you begin to find yourself spending more time on social media than you are supposed to do. What happens is that if you identify those things as a warning sign, another way you can even build system around your social media engagement is there's a way you can use your phone to set in a way that it shows you at the end of the week how much time you spent with your phone that week. Okay, and you can even compare it with last week. And then for each app, it can show you, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, this is the amount of time you spent this week. So what happens is that such system helps you to have a warning sign that keeps certain things in your life in check. So you are looking at not overspending your time in a specific area, or not overextending yourself in any particular task, in any relationship, in anything, that you are invested in. Okay, so those things are very, very important. In Luke 16, I close with this. In Luke 16, the Bible says, Luke 16 verse 10, that whoever can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. Whoever can be trusted with little can be trusted with much. You want big success, yes. Okay, you want to achieve something very powerful, yes. But can I be frank with you? Achieving something powerful, achieving a big success, starts with those little daily habits that you build. You know what I talked about in terms of your dashboard? Identify your simple daily habits. If you want to write a best-selling book, it starts with a simple habit of writing daily. It starts with a simple habit of researching, of having conversations, of listening to others and reading other books. Okay, so you cannot disconnect the simple little habits that you do every day from the big success that you are looking for. That is why success Bible is saying that, yes, you want to be trusted with much. You want to have more. Okay, but you have to be responsible for the little. You want to build an organization. You want to have a big organization that is known over Africa, that is known all over the world. It starts by you also managing the little individuals around you, the few people around you, the few situations around you. By the time you manage that effectively, what happens is that it gives you opportunity to do something bigger, to build better, and to become, extraordinary. Okay? Peter Drucker made a statement which I want to make. He said, you must manage yourself before you can lead someone else. You must manage yourself before you can lead someone else. And what am I saying today? The conversation today is about managing yourself, about leading yourself, so that you can be able to prepare yourself for success. And everything that you are going to do is going to be, revolve around people. You are going to manage relationships. You are going to manage your co-workers. You are going to manage those who work for you. You are going to manage those who are your leaders, who you respond to. Okay, you are going to manage others. And your ability to manage others is directly linked to your ability to manage yourself. You have to manage yourself properly in order to lead anything external that will contribute to your success. And that is why this is powerful. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. Remember, like I said, when you find this message and you listen to it, I want you to quickly go on the comment section, type in one thing that is key for you, for from this teaching that is going to help you live an empowered life. And I welcome you for to the next session. Next week, we've been able to deal, with the three aspects of this conversation. And if you are joining us for the first time, please find the previous teachings. The first time we discussed spiritual reset. Last week we talked about, personal purpose. Today we talked about leading yourself. Okay, you have experienced spiritual reset. There's clarity of purpose, the things you want to do. Today is about leading yourself so that you maximize the things that you've discovered that you are supposed to do. Okay, and next week we are going to be diving deeper into this conversation, and I'm hoping by the end of the year, by the end of this month, you must have gotten yourself properly aligned to the things you want to do, so that by the time you hit next month, you take out time, look at your life, evaluate your year, not because you want to regret the things you didn't do and that you are supposed to accomplish, but because you want to glean, you want to learn. You want to find out patterns in your life that can help you build a more effective life. You want to see things that will help you, become empowered and prepared for the next seasons of your life. And like I said, every farmer, before the beginning of every season, first of all, sets aside the seeds that they are going to use for the next season of their life. So he doesn't take them by chance. So he doesn't take them by error that a season is starting and they are not prepared for it. And even before the planting season starts, they go ahead, they clear the ground, they prepare the soil, making sure that they have everything they need before the planting season starts. I believe that the planting season has started already. I believe that your year has already started towards the end of the year. Take out this time to take out the weeds, clear the ground, prepare your seed, get yourself, very involved in the things that you want to do, so that at the end of the day, you can live a powerful and a very meaningful life. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, for commenting in the chat. And please remember, you can still share this conversation. There are people I believe that will listen to this conversation and is going to help them, to live out a very successful life in the next seasons of their life. And if you have any question you would like to ask, please go ahead and put it in the comment box, and we are going to respond to that in our next comment sessions. Thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for being part of this. Go ahead and keep sharing, and may God bless you. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you next week. Thank you.